Isuzu has finally stepped up to the mark and is offering a kind of hardcore version of its D-Max. It's called the Blade and it has just arrived in Australia. Unfortunately, I can't tell you how it drives because there is a national embargo for all media reviews until the 1st of November. So you'll see a lot of reviews pop up then. But I thought I'd take this opportunity to go over some of the specs and compare it to what I think is its main rival, the Toyota HiLux GR Sport. Why do I say that? Well, I think the HiLux has always been its long-term main rival because it offers the same sort of personality. It's all about ruggedness, dependability, and long-term reliability. You could say it goes up against the Ranger Raptor a bit, but that's a bit more hardcore and it's faster. You could say that it goes up against the Ford Ranger Wildtrak X or Tremor. That's kind of the same thing. Suspension upgrades, better off-road, better tyres or off-road tyres, but nothing really in the engine department. That's kind of what this is, the Blade. Firstly, let's have a look at the main highlights of this new Blade model. It's been designed and developed in Australia with help from Walkinshaw Group, and basically they've done 100,000 kilometres worth of testing in Australia, tried out all different suspension setups and tuning to try and find a good balance to improve off-road capability but also retain the heavy-duty capability as well. It obviously comes in as the new flagship model sitting above the X-Terrain, but it's kind of based on the LSU Plus if you really get down into the nitty-gritty details. Firstly, the hardware underneath. This is probably the main highlight of the whole package. It's got completely custom suspension, overhauled suspension, steering knuckles and all sorts of stuff. 35mm MTV twin tube suspension with the ground clearances raised by 29mm. Although it says here in the press kit that the lift is 29mm, but then it says down below ground clearance rated at 244mm. But if you look on Redbook, where I get most of my car specs from, it says the ground clearance of the LSU Plus and the X-Terrain is actually 240mm. So it's only a 4mm lift compared with those. So not sure what's going on there, but I think it's more like, 240 plus 29. Because when you see this thing, it definitely looks like it offers a lot more than the standard setup. There's also 3mm bash plates underneath to protect the vital components and recovery points that are rated at 8 tons. So they can really withstand being yanked out of the mud. Then we've also got downsized wheels, so from 18 to 17 inches. These allow for bigger, chunkier tyres. They're Goodyear Wrangler Duratec RT all-terrain tyres, 275 by 65. Nice and chunky. When you see these things, they just, they definitely fit the part. And then lastly, there's a range of cosmetic tweaks like different grille and Blade exclusive tailgate badging, decals, front bonnet, tubular side steps, integrated LED light bar at the front. And then inside as well, they've just got some Blade embroidery on the seats. Kind of looks like an X-Terrain inside. Nothing too hardcore, not like a Raptor that's got, completely custom, almost racing bucket seats in it. This is just pretty much like the X-Terrain, just a little bit enhanced with Blade bespoke, labeled items. There's no changes under the bonnet, so 3 litre, 4JJ, turbo diesel, 4-cylinder, 140 kilowatts and 450 newton meters. That is starting to fall down against some of the rivals, like even the Triton has more power and torque than that. As we've seen with performance tests, they still go quite well, the D-Max, even with that lower power. But I don't know, I think it's about time they just up the power and torque a little bit, just to help keep up with the rest of the competition. All right, let's get stuck into a comparison or on-paper comparison with the GR Sport HiLux. Firstly, the price. Isuzu has announced a special introductory price of $76,990 drive away. Now, it doesn't say how long this is going to last, but probably more importantly, it doesn't say what the price will revert to once this special introductory period has finished. Because you can get an X-Terrain, the X-Terrain retails from $70,500 excluding on-roads. So if you add on-road costs for a New South Wales buyer, that ends up being $77,235. So if you take off the on-road costs for this Blade, it's actually cheaper. It could potentially be cheaper than the X-Terrain, which is a bit weird. So I'll be very interested to see what the price will be after this introductory period has finished. because at the moment the HiLux GR Sport retails from 74,310 excluding on-road costs, but if we put in a New South Wales buyer, 81,130. So that's very even pricing. I think Isuzu will bump up the price higher than the X-Terrain. I mean, it has to. It's the new flagship model, 70,500. So it probably will end up being quite close to this GR Sport HiLux. But obviously right now the D-Max wins because it's 76,990 drive away, whereas the HiLux Sport GR Sport is around 81,000 drive away. Next up, the engines. Well, Toyota has, as we know, tuned and tweaked the 2.8 turbo diesel 4-cylinder in the HiLux for the GR Sport. Toyota doesn't do this very often, so I'm surprised that it did actually apply a bit of an enhancement to the engine for this special, or this flagship variant. 165 kilowatts and 550 newton meters, up from the standard 150 and 500 respectively. I've timed the GR Sport HiLux 0 to 100 in 9.91 seconds, whereas the D-Max, the best I've got out of that is 9.59 for the X-Terrain. That was in 2022. So the Blade will probably be a little bit slower because it has the big chunky tyres. That's going to increase rolling resistance, but also the bash plate and just chunkier suspension. It's probably going to be a bit heavier, I'm guessing. I can't seem to find any curb weight specifications just yet. That's just the main press releases all we've been given so far. But yeah, I suspect it will be a little bit heavier, so therefore it will probably be a little bit slower. Will it be able to keep up with the GR Sport HiLux? I don't know, but I'll try and put together a drag race of some sort in the future. But I think we can safely say for now the GR Sport is probably going to be just that tiny bit quicker, but it does have more power and more torque. It might not be, designed specifically, or it's not designed specifically for 0 to 100, but if you're towing or something like that, carrying a heavy load, more power and especially more torque is going to be beneficial. Both models obviously come with dual range 4-wheel drive with a rear locking differential, as well as switchable 4-wheel drive and rear wheel drive. So nobody really wins there. They've both got a 6-speed automatic as well. Now the D-Max does come with rough terrain mode, including the Blade. And basically, as we've seen, it's like a stability or traction control system for the front axle, even if you've got the rear diff locked. Because usually as soon as you lock the diffs, all stability turns off. It has to, because you can't go around a right-hand corner, for example, and then have a rear diff locked and then have brakes being applied to the inside wheel as it's trying to spin a bit faster, because it's locked to the left side wheel. So you can't have that, because otherwise it'll just break something. Whereas Isuzu has figured out a way to still help the front axle if it does have some traction issues. You don't have to have the rear diff locked to feel its benefits. You can push that rough terrain mode in any setting at all, and it will help get through. In my opinion, none of these modes really help that much. If it's got the mechanical grip to get through and the tyres obviously, then it will probably get through anyway. I think if you're spinning away inside wheel spin, you need a diff lock, so both of them have a rear diff lock. If you get stuck still, you're probably in pretty hardcore conditions, I think. Speaking of hardcore off-roading, ground clearance. Now I have to give this to Toyota because it's rated at 265 millimeters, while the D-Max, as I mentioned, it's rated at 244, but I don't think that's right. I think where they've set up the top 29 millimeters of extra lift, if you take the LSU Plus or the X-Terrain, they both offer 240 millimeters as standard. So 29 plus 240 is 269 millimeters. So it's actually in front of the HiLux. But since it says 244 at the end of the press release, I guess I have to go on that. But we'll just leave it up to the future and just see if a proper figure does come out and it's actually 269, then the D-Max wins. Similar area, the approach and departure angles. This new Blade is rated at, the approach angle is 29.2 degrees versus 30 degrees exactly for the GR Sport. And then the departure angle is 19.2 degrees in the Blade versus 23 degrees in the GR Sport. So the GR Sport does just win there, but interestingly, the X-Terrain offers 27 millimeters approach The LSU is 30.5 millimeters approach. So the LSU actually offers a better approach angle than this new Blade variant, rated at 29.2. The departure angle is a bit better though in the Blade versus the LSU Plus, 19 degrees exactly in the LSU Plus versus 19.2 in this new Blade. In terms of the breakover angle, the Blade is rated 25.2 degrees, while the HiLux doesn't actually have a figure, but the LSU Plus is rated at 23.8. So it definitely has more ground clearance there. That tells me that there's probably more than just 4 millimeters extra, because yeah, 25.2 compared with 23.8 breakover. That's the angle when you're going over a mound or something like that. The middle area of the car basically. So if you've got extra ground clearance, you'll have a better breakover angle, and that's a pretty big jump up in degrees. So I think 4 millimeters, yeah, it wouldn't provide that much difference in the degrees. Next up, the tyres. As I said, 275/65 on 17s in the Blade, whereas the HiLux has 265/65s on 17s. So in the D-Max, they are slightly wider. I guess you have to hand it to the D-Max because they're slightly wider, but in some conditions, I think narrower tyres are better. Like if you look at some army trucks and tanks and things, and the old Land Rovers and things, they used to have really skinny tyres. So obviously the army would probably know what gets through rough terrain pretty good. I think it just depends on the conditions. If you're after sort of rock crawling and stuff like that, I don't think skinny tyres are the best. But some say that in sand, that skinny tyres are better because they just cut through and reach the grippier section down below. Anyway, we'll give it to the D-Max just for being a bit more outrageous, I guess. And then lastly, interior. So I think the D-Max wins here because it's got a 9-inch touchscreen. It's better than, or bigger than the GR Sport HiLux's touchscreen. It is updated, so it's got the volume knob. Although the GR Sport does have a volume knob as well, I'm pretty sure. Yes, it does. But it's just, yeah, it's pretty small and crude. The D-Max system, it's the updated system, it's still not the best in my opinion. The graphics and the depth and some of the menu flow, it's not that great compared with something like the Ranger, which has a awesome big touchscreen. If you're after that sort of thing, fair enough if you're not. But I think I have to hand it to the D-Max just for having a slightly bigger screen and probably a bit nicer in terms of the menu flow. I mean, sorry, not the menu flow, the graphics compared with the HiLux. The HiLux also comes with a 9-speaker JBL system, I think it is, whereas the Blade comes with an 8-speaker setup. Both offer Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So what's the score? Well, it'd be interesting to do a proper comparison with these in terms of the driving and to see how capable they are. I think the HiLux just edges out in front because at the moment the price is only drive away for a limited time for the D-Max, so we'll have to see how much that price is when that period has finished. But also the ground clearance rating, 244 millimeters, doesn't make sense, but that's the figures. We can only use what figures we've got, and at the moment the HiLux does offer more ground clearance. Also, the 9-speaker stereo I think is a bit better than the standard 8-speaker setup in the D-Max. In terms of the design, it's a subjective thing. I think the new D-Max Blade looks awesome. It looks tough. It's got that bulky, sort of muscular look about it, whereas the HiLux, it does too, I guess, but it's got the big plastic wheel arches, and it kind of looks the same as the normal D-Max HiLux from a lot of angles, apart from those big puffy wheel arches. And then the interior layout, I think the D-Max wins. The bigger touchscreen, it's just a bit nicer to look at, whereas the HiLux definitely could be more rugged and durable, but it's not as luxurious, I don't think, as the D-Max. But there you go, a quick preview to the new Blade versus the GR Sport HiLux. I'm sure there'll be many comparisons to come out very, very soon. We'll try and put together a comparison and a virtual drag race as well as a in-depth review and 0 to 100 test as soon as we can. In the meantime, we'll have the full written review. Mitchell Jones went to the launch event this week, and that'll be up on the 1st of November. Thanks for watching.